Welcome to IFS Enlightenment Snacks. I'm Shankari, your Wild Wisdom Guide. Today, I want to talk about what happens when a worried voice inside starts living in a future that hasn't happened yet. Recently, I had a discovery call with a prospective client. She had carefully read my website. She asked thoughtful questions. She seemed genuinely interested in the work. She asked me to send her the package information. Nothing had gone wrong. Not one thing. And yet, after the call, a worried scarcity voice inside me became very active. What if I lose this client? What if she decides not to continue? What if the pricing structure is getting in the way? I could feel this worried scarcity in my body. At first, it was this amped up vibrating energy in my solar plexus, that area between your heart and your belly button. So it was all vibrating there. And then it moved lower, kind of slithering down to my belly, where it became what I've been associating with anxiety and dread. And underneath all of those questions that voice was saying, there was something even more tender. There was a fear that said, I'll be all alone with the responsibility of making everything work. Phew. Maybe you know this kind of moment. A text goes unanswered. Someone you love seems distant. A conversation is coming. A decision hasn't been made yet. And suddenly, your mind begins writing the ending. Your body begins preparing for rejection or disappointment or abandonment or failure, even though none of those things are actually happening. From one perspective, this makes sense. Our nervous systems are always trying to anticipate what comes next. They learn from experience. If something painful has happened before, a part of us may decide that the safest thing to do is to prepare early, to scan, solve, brace, to make a plan before anything goes wrong. That part may believe it is helping us avoid being caught off guard. And when it becomes very active, we can start seeing the present through an old map. So that's exactly what I began to notice after that call. The worried voice wasn't really in the room with me. It wasn't noticing the actual facts. It wasn't noticing that the prospective client had been engaged, that she had asked thoughtful questions, she had wanted the package information, that nothing had been rejected. The worried voice was somewhere else. It was living inside an older experience, an older fear, an older sense that I might be left alone to hold everything together. And the shift came when I realized this fear may come from something real, but the feared thing is not happening right now. It's not everything is fine or I know how this will turn out. Just this fear may come from something real, but the feared thing is not actually happening right now. And that can be such an important distinction. Because when a worried part takes over, possibility starts to feel like certainty. A feared outcome begins to feel like a fact. The body responds, the belly tightens, the chest contracts. The mind begins solving problems that have not arrived. And slowly, we lose contact with the moment we're actually in. In IFS, we might call this a protective part. A part of us that is trying to prevent pain, that may be working from old information, that old map. a part that may be responding as if something from the past is happening again right now. And the goal is not to get rid of that part. It isn't bad. It's trying very hard, but it may need an update. It may need help noticing where we are, what is true now, and what has not happened. So let's try a small practice together if it feels supportive. If you're driving or doing something that needs your attention, keep your awareness oriented to your surroundings. You can also simply listen. Begin by noticing one or two things around you. A shape, a color, the light in the room, something steady in your environment. And notice the support beneath you. Your feet, if they're touching the ground. Maybe your body is touching the chair. Perhaps your back is against something supportive. Or simply the movement of your body as you walk. Just noticing contact and support. Now, bring to mind a very mild version of a moment like I've been talking about. Not the biggest thing, not the most painful thing, just a small moment when your mind began moving ahead of reality. Maybe someone hasn't responded yet. Maybe you're waiting for an answer. Maybe you're imagining how a conversation will go. And notice if there's a voice inside. And if there was, what is it saying? Maybe something like, this won't work. They're going to leave. I've done something wrong. I'm going to have to fix this. I'll be alone with all of it. And notice where that voice lives in your body. Maybe it's your belly, your chest, your jaw, your lower back. Or maybe you don't feel anything clearly. That's okay too. You might quietly say, a worried part is here. And then, this fear may come from something real. And let that be true. There's no need to argue with it. No need to rush past it. Perhaps this fear does come from something real. Something that happened in the past. A disappointment, a rejection, a time when you had to hold too much alone. And gently, but the feared thing is not happening right now. Now ask, what is actually true in this moment? Maybe the truth is, I don't know yet. The answer hasn't come. The conversation hasn't happened. The person hasn't left. The opportunity hasn't disappeared. Maybe it's, I'm sitting in this room. My feet are on the floor. I'm breathing. I'm here. This is not a positive affirmation. It's not forced reassurance. It's just the facts of right now. And notice that awareness is already here. There is something in you that can notice the worried voice, that can notice the body, the room, the fear. This awake, spacious awareness doesn't have to fight the worried part. It can include it. It can have room for it. It can be with the worried part without becoming the worried one. And perhaps, only if it feels true enough, you might offer one more sentence. I don't know how this ends yet. Or, something different may be happening here. Or simply, something new may be possible here. And notice what happens when you don't force the future into an old shape, into that old map. Maybe nothing dramatic changes. Maybe the worry is still there, but perhaps it feels a little less alone. Perhaps there is 1% more space. Perhaps the ending no longer feels completely decided. And that's enough. I'll take that. And I want to say something important. Sometimes this kind of wondering is not available right away. Sometimes the nervous system is carrying too much activation, grief, fear, or exhaustion. If that's the case, then the first step may not be possibility. The first step may be support, safety, rest, connection, a nervous system that can finally exhale. When a house is on fire, we don't begin by remodeling the kitchen. We put out the fire. And as the system settles, curiosity may return. Awareness may return. A little more room may become available. Rewilding is not becoming someone new. It's restoring relationship with the aliveness that was already here beneath the conditioning. It's restoring our capacity for surprise, for wonder, for emergence, for not knowing yet. The old map may still be in your hands, but it's not the whole territory. So the next time a worried voice begins writing the ending, you might pause and ask, what is it afraid will happen? Could notice, what's happening in my body? And remember, what is actually true right now? This fear may come from something real, but the feared thing is not actually happening right now. And perhaps something new may be possible here. Thank you for being here with me. And if this episode supported you, you might save it for the next time your mind begins living in a future that hasn't happened yet. I'll meet you for the next snack.